Hello. How are we? Hello. Buttons. I still haven't set up the keybinds for all my stuff yet. I gotta work on that. Isolated capture. It's me. Hello. We're not doing anything too exciting today. I sort of clickbaited the title, making Warhammer 40k and Godot, just because I saw that came out like over the weekend, or it's early access or something. So, because I've been working on a third-person shooter template for my next project, and I just thought it was funny because everyone's talking about how this is like the best game ever or whatever. I actually don't know why. For some reason, people said Helldivers was good. I probably won't play it because it's $100. That's my biggest gripe with it. I'll wait for the special, and then I'll play it. So yeah, I don't think much has changed since the last time we looked at the project. I haven't activated the chat sources. Oh my goodness, activate. Are you going to study the game? Probably not. I mean, we'll see. If it goes on special, it's very expensive at the moment, and I don't really like to pay that much. Like, I try to limit how much I spend on video games. Like, I don't like to buy them brand new. It is $89.95 Australian dollars. Yeah, I don't know. Like, it looks good. I'm not a Warhammer guy, you know? So I don't know, like, if it's a good game. And these are the dudes. Is there a gameplay trailer? I should probably check that, eh? Hang on a second. Let's go Brave.
So Helldivers just got their...
We were researching Helldivers last time. Warhammer 40k Space Marine 2 gameplay trailer? Launch trailer. Gameplay overview. Yeah, let's have a look at this. It's just a third-person shooter.
Space Marine 2, the The newest installment in the Warhammer 40,000 franchise. Brought to you by Saber Interactive and Focus Entertainment. I'm Oliver Hollis-Like, creative director on the project, and today I'm going to take you on a tour of the game's story, game modes, progression,
Is the lore of
and a whole
Warhammer
lot
good?
more.
I've never
Giving you a
ever
taste of
taken
what's
an
to
interest
come
in
when
it.
the game releases on September 9th. Space Marine 2 is a third-person action shooter set in the grim, dark universe of Warhammer 40,000. The game's
looks
campaign
amazing.
mode allows you to experience this epic story either solo or with up to 3 players in co-op. Space Marine 2's story begins a
Hey, how
century
are
after
ya?
the events of the first game.
I haven't played the first one. Maybe I should do that
Captain
first.
Demetrian Titus is a genetically enhanced super soldier and hero of the Ultramarines.
We will eradicate your kind from the galaxy.
Titus is returned to the Ultramarines,
You're a lieutenant now.
where he is demoted to lieutenant
Will that be a problem? No, Captain.
and forced to prove his loyalty in the heat of battle. On a distant world, he must face one of humanity's most fearsome adversaries, the Tyranids.
Bugs.
As
It's
you
always
take
bugs.
control of Titus and his fellow battle brothers, Chiron and Gadriel, you'll be thrown into the thick of a war of galactic proportions. Thanks to our unique swarm technology, allowing us to render
don't know nothing
hundreds
about
of
it.
real
I'm
enemies
just-
on screen.
I just know it looks a lot like the template I'm trying to make, so I just thought I'd jump on the bandwagon, you know? But, like, I mean, it looks amazing. What is it? Is it just like as if Rome made it to outer space? Like, what's the
At the
deal?
same time. You'll face seemingly endless waves of crawling, running, and swooping enemies as far as the eye can see.
Very quick timey.
You must repel the Tyranid invasion and rid the system of the Xenos threat, battling in the claustrophobic jungles of Kadaku, the majestic planet-spanning metropolis of Avarax, and other epic locations. After each successful mission, you'll return to the Battle Barge, a space fortress serving as the Ultramarines' orbital
StarCraft
headquarters.
vibes, yeah.
Here you can gather crucial intel by interacting with
Yeah, it does look a little like Gears of War, for sure. Like, Gears of War... I don't know, what were other big... Oh, I played a lot of Mass Effect. Doesn't really look like that, though. Mass Effect was more RPG-ish.
board personnel.
He had spells and stuff.
Review your next targets and tailor your loadout to your upcoming mission.
For the Emperor!
I get the impression with that, like, hub world kind of thing, edgier version of StarCraft. Yeah, there you go. I didn't play StarCraft either. But, like, I imagine... I don't know if the campaign's actually any good. It doesn't look like it would be when you're just doing drop-ins. But I don't know.
Whether you prefer close combat or ranged warfare, the Ultramarines' wide range of equipment offers you an array of devastating weapons and unique
typical.
special abilities. A balanced approach is certainly wise, since performing a brutal melee finisher replenishes your armor and keeps you in the fight for longer.
Oh, they're doing the Doom thing.
Shred the enemies of humanity with the iconic
That was
chainsword.
sick.
Liquefy them with the melter rifle, or crush them with the mighty thunderhammer. How you vanquish the Tyranid invaders is entirely up to you.
Your duty is not yet done.
Gears.
Beyond the story campaign, you'll find
didn't really like
Operations
this one.
mode. Here, the focus is on cooperation and
only played the first one, though.
replayability. Play as one of 6 classes with unique skills and abilities.
The Emperor provides.
Then develop and customize them to make them your own. Whether you prefer the Sniper's stealth cloak and long-range capabilities, the Vanguard's grapnel launcher, or the Bulwark's chapter banner and storm shield combat.
That's what I'd like to achieve. Like, make something that can be turned into, like, you can create different movement mechanics and all that kind of stuff. Like, where it's just like, yeah, you just need to attach those, like, objects to them or create them yourself. Like, I think that would be really cool to be able to design a system like that.
Combination, your Space Marine specialty, along with those of your squad mates, will be decisive on the battlefield. The more missions you play, the more you'll unlock cosmetics for your Space Marine.
All right, this is going on too long, but looks sick. Looks sick. I don't think much has changed since the last time I was here. Give it a run just in case. We've still got our weapons. We can still sprint. We can still jump and boost and all that. The animations are working pretty good. Oh, you know what I did tighten up? I did tighten up the animation mixing, or what do they call it? Animation blending, so that things blend a bit better. But other than that, not much has happened. I still can't shoot. I have to get that going. But there's one thing that's bugging me, man, and it is this animation control change weapon function here is just, it's a total mess. I don't know if I'd even call it a bit of a schmozzle, you know? The animation tree. Yes, I can show you that. Let's go. Script, this button here on my keyboard. Animation tree. Animation tree. There's no full screen button for animation tree. If I go like this, oh yeah, I guess that's not too bad. So we've got all the different jumps. I'm thinking about changing that because I don't need that many. And then I've got idle, your run blend, which is like depending on the direction you're going to run, you're going to look different. You've got your sprint animation, which is just a single animation. It's bottom left. And then, yeah, we're just blending this one shot, which is also a transition between unequip and equip. So we just, basically this is set up to instantly move into the next state. So if you click on, I think if you go to this one, it just, what's the word for it? If I go inputs here, auto advance, unequip, and then equip. So it unequips first and then it goes to the next one. That's what we're doing with that. So yeah, it's pretty basic state machine at the moment. The only thing that's like a little bit specky is this. And then this is really just a state machine. The editor, that just like the legs point a certain direction based on which way you're going. That's literally it. And so what I was thinking is I don't like how we're handling the changing of the weapons. Because this is kind of like, okay, we've got a new weapon model to load. We could just pass that in. We don't really need the whole weapon resource. We can just pass in the weapon model. So we could change that. That's an improvement there. Depending, I guess. We're setting our influence to false so that we don't have IK. And then we're requesting some animations. Basically, this state transition to unequip, we have to request that before we request the one shot because it doesn't ever reset. I don't know why, but that's fine. This is the part I have an issue with. The waiting to actually load the model. So when we change the weapon, we don't load the model until the weapon gets behind the back of the head. So we've changed, it loads up after that. Now, personally, I think the animation is a little bit too quick, but like we'll just roll with that as a demonstration. Like it's fine. But what I don't like is I'm just manually keying that. What if we change the animation, right? Where is my script? Like, I don't like this change weapon wait time. This is a variable of 0.7 seconds. What if it's different? There should be a way that we can query that, right? So, and I think there is. I can't get back to the animation tree. Godot is kind of annoying how it sometimes will show the options and sometimes it won't. So the unequip is actually like a chop. It's like a slice of the animation where we're making the timeline only 0.8 seconds and we're starting it at 0.2 seconds. So we're starting a little bit early because the animation actually, we're starting a bit late because the animation sort of like goes down first. You can't see my hand. It goes down before it goes up. And I don't really like that. I don't know if I change this to 0, what it looks like. I don't know if I'll like it. It's not that bad, but it doesn't really reach the top anymore because I think this would need to be longer. Like that would need to be 1 second. Yeah, it would. But now you can sort of see that's actually probably better, to be honest. I don't know, who cares? Get a small amount of scaling down to the hammer space, and then the object switch when it scales back up, so it looks like it's pulling it out of somewhere. You could do that, yeah. It's a lot of additional work. So the issue is then, if we play around with this to get it right, then we need to update the amount of time in the variable, which is just just a variable. It's not anything, right? So we should be able to query that. It's like, you know, we can do better than this, I think. Create time or wait time, change weapon timeout. We should be able to get that information. And it should be by actually getting access to that resource, right? And I don't know how to do that. Because the animation finished animation doesn't play. It doesn't trigger. You can't query that. You can't rely on that. So we need a different way of doing it, right? Oh my god, animation tree. Click this one. We know we need to wait 1 second. Animation node animation unequip. This is what we need. We can get to this. What we can do with it after we get to it, I don't know. This is the resource. I need to look up the documentation for that. Animation node animation. Can you not emit a signal? No, it doesn't trigger for some reason. I don't know why. Probably because it's blending multiple animations at the same time. It's like, it's not 100%. So like what I was doing was on this animation tree under the node animation finished, if I just connect that, and you never know, maybe it'll show up this time because I've changed some stuff. If I look at that and I just print out the animation name, you're not always going to get back the correct animation. So it just returns jump down and jump up for some reason. I don't know why. Jump up, jump down. I can't explain it. The blending looks bad, eh? Did I fiddle with that? Anyway, so yeah, it just like that's all that comes out of the animation finished signal. So it's like, okay, whatever. Using the animation finished signal is not going to work that well. I don't know, like it could go either way with that one. I've used it before for this exact same kind of thing. Unless I get it from the animation player. Animation changed. I don't know. Oh yeah, right. Okay, so you are right, Boogie. The other thing that I'm reading the next phrase in your sentence. Hey, Ozer, how are ya? Yes, that is the other option. The other option is to trigger a function, which I actually think would be the neatest way to do it, right? So, not this button. In the animation for the change weapon, right, unequip weapon and equip weapon, we actually trigger a function. So, yeah, call method track. Yeah, no, you're 100% right. This probably would be the cleanest method, right? So you could go func load new weapon mesh, something like that. And then we just have a return void. Pass, because it's kind of messy. Let's just save that, then add a track called method track, assuming it gets called. Kind of tricky. Test character is the one that we want to call on, and then at the very bottom of this we can call a function insert key, and load new mesh is what we want to call. So now when to call, that is the question. To call or not to call? Let's just turn this off for a second. Go to the animation, equip weapon. We're sort of doing it Oh, this is the wrong function. Unequip weapon. Yeah. 0.7. Call method track. I'm going to do it on both apparently. This one here. Load new mesh. Right? I reckon that's the ticket. I forgot to turn my music back on and it's quiet. That's meant to protect me from dead air, you know? Hello, hello, hello. I can't hear it. Is it a very... I don't know. It's a quiet song. Whatever. Go next. Hello? Yeah, you're 100% on it, man. This is going to work. And I think it's the easiest for people to understand as well. Right? Load new mesh. The thing is that clipping with the animation tree, I think it'll be fine though. So let's get back into this. So we no longer need this. We no longer, this all needs to happen in the next one. Await and then change weapon finished emit is what we want to emit in the equip weapon function when it's finished, right? So this is the two bits of information we want to do for the load new mesh. Weapon to load doesn't exist anymore because it's a variable within this function. But we can sort of we can fix that. So we will create a variable. We can get rid of this change weapon type. So we can just go var next weapon. And it's a node 3D in this case. It could be a mesh, but it's actually a node. And it's not going to be equal to anything, right? And then when we do have this function pack scene, I guess it's a pack scene. Godot keeps blowing me away with its features. Had no idea you could call a function on a keyframe. Hey, motivation exceeds me. Welcome to the stream. Yeah, it's one of the most powerful features. I need to make a video on that. What am I working on? I'm making a third-person shooter template so that people can download it and play around with it and learn. Next weapon is a pack scene, apparently. That's right, that makes sense. Makes sense in my head. Next weapon. Okay, pack scene. And then we can go next weapon, and then we can go like this, and then in the attach weapon to bone, what we can do is once we've attached the weapon, current attachment, get child, yep, we instantiate it, we add it, and then next weapon gets set to null. At the end of this, we just clear it. Next weapon equals null. I don't think it'll let me do this, actually. It's gonna get cranky. No, it's okay. Sometimes it gets cranky when you try to nullify typed objects. Okay, so that fixes those two things. Next weapon equals weapon.model. Set IK influence to true. Attach weapon to bone. When we load the new mesh, we're requesting it. Change weapon finished. We need to remove this. And what we need to do, this is important for the weapon state machine. So when we change weapons, we can't shoot, right? But the change weapon, what was the name of that signal? Change weapon finished needs to be called when the animation is done and the weapon is in the hands of the player ready to be shot. So we can do that pretty easily, doing the exact same thing. So we go to the equip weapon one. Let's just remove this, delete key. And then insert key. And I wonder if we can just, do we need to call a function or can we just emit the signal? Change. Void on change weapon, no. Is that even an option? We can Bezier call animation playback track property? Nah, I don't know. Let's just create a function. Change weapon complete. Something like that. Might need to rename these before we actually make the video on it. And change weapon finished dot emit, right? And then we can just call that function. I don't know when, probably 1 second in. That sounds fine to me. It gets clipped as well because I don't know. It's just the way it is. I think I need to save and then insert. Change weapon complete. All right, let's just go back to 3D. Yeah, see, we probably want it. I think it does sort of around there. That's fine, right? Like if you can shoot at that point, I think it's okay. All right, let's see if it works. Maybe I've forgotten something. So let's give it a run. I forgot to turn the animation player back on. Animation tree. I could probably just add that in code to set this to active when why can't I activate it? Because this is active. Turn this off. Click this. Turn this on. I should probably just like on the ready animation mixer dot active equals true. I can't change weapons. Interesting. Now, is that because in the state machine for the weapon manager, we start with current weapon state is ready, and then we change weapons. I would say the chance that the most likely thing is those functions aren't being called. Probably we can just do like a little printout to test that, or even just like a breakpoint on that change weapon finished emit. Because even though our player has a weapon in its hand, it's actually not there. It's just for like, I should delete that, right? It doesn't actually have a weapon to start with, right? That function isn't being called because there's no breakpoint happening there. So I wonder if we just make it earlier. Animation, equip weapon. Let's just bring it way further forward. Neither of them are being called because we're not getting the model either. So is there a limitation on calling functions in the animation tree? That doesn't seem right. Why would you do that? So this plays the 1 second. So it really should trigger. Debugger, is there anything, is it giving me any information? Speed blend, direction, stack trace, output, nothing. Okay. Animation. Unequip weapon. Load new mesh happens at what, like 0.5 seconds? 0.7. Is it because, no, there would be a next mesh because it would receive that. It's getting to this point, next weapon model. This function is not being called. Load new mesh. Animation tree. Is there a setting I need to like press somewhere? Just make things a bit more readable. Animation player. Test code to animation player. It's the right player. Deterministic. Root motion. Callbacks. Idle. Method. Deferred. Force continuous. So it should happen, right? Callback mode. Ordinarily tracks can be set to animation update discrete to or update infrequently, usually when the nearest interpolation. However, when blending animation update continuous, several results are considered. The callback mode discrete, okay, specifies it explicitly. To make the blended results look good, it is recommended to set this to animation callback mode discrete force continuous. Okay, right. To update every frame during the blending, otherwise values exist for compatibility and they are fine if there is no blending, but not so may produce artifacts. I don't even know if I'm in the right recessive. So this is because of blending, basically, if I'm understanding this correctly. Dominant, recessive, force continuous. I don't even have that. Okay, dominant. An animation update discrete track values take precedent when blending animation update continuous. An animation update continuous. Update capture track. Oh my god, there's so much to understand. Let's just change it to dominant. See what happens. Nothing. This is not related. I don't know if I'm in the right spot. Callback mode. Method to third intermediate. Let's just start changing stuff. Nothing. Because blending. They say because blending. Okay, so I don't know. And when I don't know, I just Google Godot animation tree method tracks. Method animation tracks. Using animation tree. Call method tracks on one animation work but not another. That's really old. Function calls in custom animation tracks don't get... This is from Blender. Okay, they're trying to do the same thing as me. Adding a custom track. Don't get called when other blend nodes are added to the tree. I'm trying to trigger a function from the animation player and it doesn't get called because even prints... It never even prints... Okay, yeah, well... Yep. And this is the same kind of thing. Right. Same kind of thing. In the future, please follow instructions. Okay, fucked up. Also, what is needed to one-shot request fire. Yeah, but that's fine, whatever. Still gets triggered. It works if you don't blend 100%. Okay. Is there someone with the answers? Slap that together quickly as well as including Godot. One-shot request fire. I'm pretty sure that's what I'm doing. Tricky stuff, eh? Let's have a look. Oh, wrong button. It's alright. Hang on. One-shot request fire. That is what I'm doing. I don't know, man. It's a bit of a mystery. Surely there's a setting here somewhere. I'm just gonna press a button somewhere. The function call is on the one-shot though, so even though the previous tracks are blended, a minor amount, we expect the function call to fire. I think the main issue is that certain blend amounts are used for different visual cues to work better with different animations. Performance reasons, yeah. Does anyone actually have an answer here? If the blending's set to 0, then it will work, but it's going to look like shit, so... Custom track animation bug. If you have resources, I haven't slipped out. You need to filter functions. You need to filter function. That's all I need. What? You need a filter function? Hang on a second. Animation tree. Edit filters. Functions. What? They're getting cold now. Good lord. The second one's still not being cold. We're halfway there. Okay, so we're halfway. This one's still not making it out. I wonder why. Is it its position? Is it the blending? What's the debugger say? We've got errors. Attach weapon to bone. Index 0 is out of bounds. What the heck? I'm doing something naughty here. What? Data children. This happens when you've like added it. You haven't added it to the tree. 54 load new mesh. No. Attach weapon to bone. Data internal children front count cache. Data internal children back count stacked. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what that error means. It's not affecting the way the game runs, so whatever. We'll ignore that. This one is the big problem now. So let's go back to the animation mixer and see if we can just like, because we were pressing all sorts of buttons trying to make that to work. Oh, I reset it all already. Hey, what are we doing today? We are continuing working on our third-person shooter. But we're trying to clean up the change weapon function, and it's given us some trouble. Unequip weapon, equip weapon, change weapon to complete. Right. Animation tree. How fiddly. Functions. It doesn't really say anything else. So it's not like there's anything to select or deselect here. Method is immediate. Let's just change that back to deferred. Still not being called. Let's just check the information in the animation. So this is a very short one. So it starts offset at 0.5 seconds. That could be our problem. And it ends at 0.95 seconds. So it's a very short animation. And I would say the most likely scenario is that this is starting at 0.5, but realistically we should start it at 0.7. Are you a Warhammer fan? No, I'm just jumping on the bandwagon to get some clicks. Goose Fact, how are ya? Welcome. All right. Okay, so I think this will work. It did not work. Come on, mate. Imported scene, inactive player. I don't know. This is got to be like something to do with the positioning because I'm doing a lot of clipping on that animation tree, so I think it does have something to do with that now. Use custom timeline. That's on both of them. I don't know why people like or enjoy Warhammer. I've never played it. I've never done any kind of tabletop thing. Warhammer's a tabletop thing, right? You had 23 from Raid? Nice. Nice work. Why didn't you send them my way, Goose? Stretch timescale. Start offset 0.5. Timeline length 0.95. Play mode forward. So in theory, the way I'm picturing this is that it's happening like somewhere in between the two. 0.7, 0.6. I don't know what's good. Like where's the right point to play this? 0.75? It can't be that difficult to make this play. Super annoying. Touch weapon to bone has got problems, but that's not really an issue. What is happening here? Let's have a look at the animation tree. And request a fire of the equip. As soon as I raid you. Okay. Fire. How many lines of code in the project? Even just an estimate? Not that many. Like, let's see. The camera is probably the most complicated thing right now. And it's only 150. The state machine is the next most complicated thing. The motion function is 50, 60. So, you know, not that many. Yeah, it's only 40. So like, yeah, like 200 lines of code, it's nothing, man. You can do a lot with just 200 lines, eh? Equip weapon. I don't know when this is. Process code, animation tree, 3D. It barely plays. I have hypnotic games in my games. Hypnotic. I don't know who that is, man. So this maybe is too short. Let's try this. Honestly, it looks the same. I can't actually tell the difference. It seems to get cut even more every time. Fade time 0.1 seconds, allowed transaction. Start offset was 0.5. Yeah. What should it be? Like what's normal here? Let's just turn it off. Yeah, let's just turn that off and just play the animation in full. I think something is going wrong here. This doesn't look like it changed anything. Is unequipped the only animation being played? You can almost get away with it. You don't really need two, but we do have two just in case. This is supposed to be auto advance and reset. It plays for a very short amount of time. I built a marketplace site and the code was 5,000 lines, not including libraries, because of DB. Render HTML pages and logic. Yeah, that sounds... I mean, that sounds about right. Really. Websites are hard, man. Okay, so why is that so short? Crossfade time. Equip weapons, play mode, resource 1 changed. Use custom timelines turned off. I'm having feelings there's something wrong. Reload current project. That shouldn't really be going so short. It should be much longer. And it was in the past. Right? Animation tree. Still the same. Click this. Games are different because, like, yeah, I think you end up with weird shit like this where you can't actually put your finger on what's going on. Fade in time, auto restart. Oh, I didn't know that was an option. Is it the fade out time? Let's reset these values. I don't know what's going on. Reset, unequip, fire. And now it's doing it. Looks like shit, but it's doing it. got to be this fade out time shit. Yeah, it is. Why is it 0.1 second fade out time causing it to do that? Let's just do it without that. Breakpoint. It gets cold. It looks like absolute arse though. Look at it. Shit animation. Alright. One animation. We just have one animation. That's the answer, really. But, I don't know. Does that make sense? No, probably not. Let's persist. Damn, I really hate working with animations. You always end up with weird shit like this. Have you tried Godot debugging when code stepping per line to figure out complex bugs that are hard to catch? Yes, I have done that before. I seldom need stuff like that. Like, I know what the problem is here and it wouldn't help. I know upper body can be rotated up and down when the camera moves, but I also think that it'd be really good at first when the whole body is... Okay, let me think for a second. Can rotate up and down when the camera moves, but I also think that it would be good if first the upper body moves a little when the body moves sideways. That's a really complicated movement to implement. You would do it with a you would also do it with a inverse kinematics, right? Like you rotate the hip and then you also rotate the body, but yeah, it's harder to do. We'll look at that later if we want, because that is a common thing. So right now, like what you can tell with this one is if I rotate the character, like it just rotates, right? And at the very least, we want the feet to like sort of shuffle a bit, you know, like in most games, at the very least. So we need to try and achieve that. God damn, that looks like shit. Okay. Animation tree. Okay, so what if we made these a lot shorter? I really fade in time 0.1 second, 0.05. What does it say? The fade out duration, for example, set to 1 for a 5-second length animation will produce a crossfade that starts at 4 seconds and ends at half a second. Note, animation node one-shot transitions in the current state after the end of fading when animation node output is considered the most upstream. So fade out time is scaled depending on the downstream delta. For example, if this value is set to 1 and timescale with a value of 2 is chained downstream, the actual processing will be 0.5 seconds. Okay. I don't really understand that, but we'll roll with it. Let's try firing that off. I mean, that's what I don't understand. Like, I made these 0.1 and like all of a sudden it looks pretty much normal, and now you can do it for like 0.1 and it's like fucking god awful. We just need to change it to one animation. It gets cut off so much. And then, okay, so what if, let's just make them really short. Anyway, this needs a crossfade time. That's fine. This custom timeline. Now, what did I have this originally set to? 0.5 and 0.95. It doesn't start, so we do that. Let's get that back. Let's change this to unequip. Let's fire. Looks like shit. I'm going to change this to one animation. Because basically I was tricking myself into thinking it was 2 animations, but it's actually just 1 animation. You know what I'm saying? Because I did that, and then like if you actually look at what plays, it's basically just the unequip animation. It's like nothing happens here. Start offset at 0, 1 second. Yep. Is blend mode, add, that's fine, whatever. Yeah, it looks way worse than it did before. Stretch timescale, turn that off. Ew. God damn, animations suck. It literally doesn't play. 0.01. It's normally 0. All right. It's a single animation now. The blend, fade in time, fade out time. This is so that it doesn't look as jarring. Fire. It looks a lot better. I think this should probably start at like 0.2 or something like that. Let's try that. Yeah, that looks fine. We just need to put both of them then into this animation. So let's go to that animation of unequipped weapon. 0.1, it did it, and then yeah, it, like, I don't know, like for some reason 0.01 was, I mean, it's a factor of 10, right? So yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, what am I doing here? The Minecraft movie trailer is so bad. I'm never going to watch that movie. Am I just getting too old? I don't know. I've watched kids' movies before. I don't know. Let's see. Oh. We no longer need this. Hey, Josh Villarreal. No worries, man. Welcome to the stream. Now this, I mean, it works, but the weapon doesn't change all the time. It looks a lot better in terms of like an animation. Not that it's a good animation, it's just that it's fluid. There's no jarring movement, right? Hand goes up, hand goes down. Now I can see that the left hand is a little bit messed up. And that means that some of these functions aren't getting called properly. And that's probably just to do with the animation, like the functions and when they're being called. So let's go back down to, this is really fiddly. I don't like this at all. Sometimes, let's just deactivate this for a second. What are we doing here? Let's just go over what we're doing. So we have to activate this. Right, so we really want to load the new weapon there. When the hand goes behind the back, it gets loaded in. And then when it comes back down, I mean, we're going to just call them in succession. Realistically, yeah, whatever. I'm going to have to think about this. This is how this is going to work. It's going to be annoying. Now, nothing gets called because we did not turn back on the animation tree because I said I was going to... I can't turn it on. Why can't I turn it on? It doesn't make any sense. Okay. Okay, well, it works. Good enough for now. We'll roll with that. We need to start actually writing some code for the shooting so that we can actually shoot stuff. That's going to be our next project today. Hey, NA Games, welcome to the stream. How are you? I'm a little bit out of frame, eh? I'm down a bit. So we've been struggling with the animation player. In my game, 0.1 rotation makes 10 million. I'm assuming that you're talking about like a small change in a rotation can make things go really weird, and sometimes that's the case with scaling. If you're talking about rotations, then radians can really mess you up if you're thinking in degrees and you're actually calculating in radians. Greetings from Ireland. Hey, how's it going? I went to Ireland in 2017 and I had a great time. I really liked it. I would 100% live there, except it's very cold. Okay, so let's look at the weapon manager. Weapon manager. Okay, let's close off some of this stuff. Bottom weapons are just different colors. Both weapons, they're different models as well, but yeah, they're just different colors. It's mainly just so that I can set up the animations and sort of get an idea of how they work. It's also something at the moment I've only got a pose for rifle weapons. I need to either set up IK for the left hand so that I can create poses for pistols, but I mean, I think I want to do that with blending. I don't want to overload IK because IK is depreciated, and the more I use it, although I have used it quite heavily already, I've got the left hand and the hip, the more I use it, the more of a problem it becomes, because I'm going to have to remove it and redo videos and stuff like that. It's actually a bit of a concern for this project, but we'll see. Maybe I can find a way to do all of these things without it. I doubt it. Left hand especially. So, like, who did this animation, man? Like, the left, it's like higher than the... Anyway. Yeah. It's a bit concerning. So, let's set up some shooting and stuff. Do I need my cheat sheet? Oh, I need to... NA Games, you're here. You can help me with my enumerators. I need to, like, fix up the enumerator. Godot. Because it's, Okay. Enums. Named. Thing 1, thing 2. Ah. Is that how it's done? Whoops. So I should go current weapon state. And then just, like, yeet that. Ready not declared in the current scape. And then you go... Not ready? I don't know if this is... Okay, no, I'm doing this wrong. This just needs to be called weapon state. Right? And then if current weapon state is equal to weapon state.ready, so that just helps with the readability. Is that the right way to do it? I don't actually know. And then change state to current weapon state dot unavailable. Weapon state dot unavailable. Something like that. So basically the difference between like the one that I have going now and the one that I am sort of trying to work with. So the FPS weapon manager used the animation player to keep track of the state because it was there, it was convenient, but it did lead to a lot of checking of the string, just like if the animation player is playing the reload animation, then don't keep playing the reload animation. Like, just return out. Not the best. right now what I'm thinking is we just need to say like, if it's ready or not. Like, okay, like we don't really need to know exactly what it's doing. We just need to know that if it's being reloaded, then it's unavailable. And if it's unavailable, you can't do anything else until that is finished. Now, how we get back, any plans to redo stuff in the FPS asset? I do need to get to that. I don't even think I've updated the asset library there, and the asset library is probably the most important one. So I should probably set some time aside to do that. It's updated in the GitHub. So it is updated for 4.3 in the GitHub. I just haven't passed it on to the asset library and itch as well. So it's pretty slack. The FPS Pro is updated for F4.3, but it is a couple of versions behind in terms of like weapon swapping and how I do that in the main free version, mainly because it's kind of hard to swap it over because there's like all this other stuff that goes with it. So like it's fine, it works. We don't need to reinvent the wheel. And if you purchase that, like I spend time with people making sure it works for their project. Out of bounds, yada yada. We don't care about that. Okay, what's this? What's this in the output? Ready, not declared in the current scope. That's fine. I paid on itch. Oh no, okay. So if you bought it on itch, it should be fine for 4.3. If you're having issues, let me know in the GitHub. No, don't let me know. Let me know in the Discord, and we can work them out. It's no problems. I work with people from time to time for their projects. If there's a bug that I don't know about, like I'm not always aware of. If no one tells me, then I don't know. I'm 34. I'm old as heck, bro. Yeah, we can work it out. And if we can't, then we'll just refund you. Wouldn't you want it to be current weapon state to be the type of weapon state? Oh, can you do that? Wait, what? No, okay, so this needs to be in Pascal case, you're saying? My favorite. And we can type it? We can type it. That's kind of cool. Computer graphics. Hello. And Goosefat. It's $5. No refund. I mean, I still would, but yeah. Okay, so can this be typed then? I did not know you could do that. That's cool. I've got a little warning here. Integer used when enum is available. Yes. Nice. Okay, so that makes more sense. And yeah, right now I've just got unavailable and ready because I figure like we could make a single different one for like, it's reloading or not. I don't know. Do we need to know? I don't think so, but we'll find out as we go along. Okay, so what have we got? We can change weapons. And we can, that's literally all we can do. We can change weapons. And then that's it. Should be fine, right? Strict typing will also get you a performance boost. We have got strict typing turned on. So if we go to the project settings, this is the first one that I'm doing it with because every other project that I started with it turned off, and then you turn it on later on, then it becomes like a total nightmare. So yeah, what do you do that? Typing? Under debug GD script, untyped error. You could also use SFFSM if you're lazy. I don't know what that is. Oh, that state machine add-on. No, I don't want to use that for this. My goal is to keep it simple without like having to add a bunch of states and all that kind of stuff. But we'll see what is required as we go on. The autocorrect in my keyboard sucks. Are you watching on your phone? Okay, so now we need to what else do we need to do with this thing? We got to reload, we got to shoot. So we need ammo, we need data. What have we got for the weapon resource? We do have everything here. Has ammo, magazine, max ammo, damage, yada yada yada. I'm just gonna steal from my first person shooter. Finite state for the machine, not the add-on. Oh, right. So yeah, what have we got? We've got that for the movement, right? Same kind of thing, finite state machine. I don't really want to do that for the weapon manager, mainly because it would require, I think it's more work than is needed. I don't know, maybe that's just me. Also, I think it's kind of cool to have like different examples of it throughout the video project that I'm making. It could be that. Maybe I'll do that one day. That could be fun to see if that's like helpful or not. Okay, let's steal from my previous work because I'm lazy. So I have no mods. No, I have like 2 people watching on Twitch. Is the plan to yes, yeah, the exact same thing. I'll put this on itch and GitHub, and there'll be a free version, there'll be a paid version, all that kind of stuff. Same exact thing. The video that I'm planning for this will be better than the last one, because the last one was a little bit like up in the air, and I changed things on. Basically, I started making the video while I was halfway through making the project, and things changed like throughout the video process, and it made it pretty messy. And then I actually finished the video series and then hadn't finished the project, and then like it didn't make sense to keep going because it had been a couple months. It was a whole thing. So, you know, this one I'm gonna finish it first and then make the video. That is the plan. Okay, so I have to shoot. I mean, that's really the only thing. So the thing is, we had weapon slots in the FPS one, and this one is weapon slots, but it's not weapon slots because it is just weapon resources here. But what I wanted to test out is a weapon slot that is, and there's more resources. We're gonna like get way too complicated. What I love to do, basically, make it way too complicated. Weapon manager, weapon resource, and then we're gonna get a new one. Actually, no, we can keep it in the weapon resource one. Maybe we make a folder here called scripts, right? So that we can just like plop them all in. And here we're gonna create a new one. This script is gonna inherit from resource, and it will just be called weapon slot. Are these, I don't, you sent me the typing thingo. GD name styling. Cheat sheet. But what about files? Oh, snake case for files. What about folders? Your stream losing frames? Is it? Ugh. I got 9%. Yeah, it's really bad actually. Why is it always like that? I don't know what happens. Like occasionally I get like 0.1% drop frames, but today I have 10% drop frames. So like, I don't know what changes. Maybe it's just my internet. No, that's got to be a CPU thing, right? I also have really low KB. I have really low bitrate at the moment. Boop. Alright, so file name snake case. But they don't say for folders, but whatever. Well, let's just go with snake case. Weapon slot. Oh, I press cancel instead of create. Script. resource. Weapon slot. Right? Create. And so I try to follow the official styling guide. I forget a lot. Like you can see, these are all like all up in the air. These are all Pascal case, and then scripts go either way. Like that one is not. This is snake case. This is Pascal. I've got to go through and like make it consistent because I haven't done that in the past and it's been a problem. Snake case for everything in the file system. Pascal for node names. Yeah. You're meant to use Pascal for node names, class names, all that kind of stuff. Extends resource. Class name is a weapon slot. So now we're going to get into like creating a class hierarchy. Yeah, it's pretty bad, the file name system. I gotta fix it. So it'll be a weapon resource. Weapon resource. Export var. Just forgetting the most important part. Now I can't read this. Weapon resource, right? And then I guess we can just call this a weapon, right? This weapon slot has a weapon. And then it also has ammo. And this is going to be new. We're going to have an ammo resource. The idea being you can mix and match ammo, right? There is no ammo resource because I haven't created it yet. Music is loud? Okay, sorry. Oh yeah, look at that. Wow, it's off the chop. It's hard to keep balance. I need to go through and like fix them. It was as loud as me, which is a problem. And it's like a really twangy guitar, like it sounds out of tune to me. I need to go through, I went through and I dropped some more tracks in and I'm not 100% happy with it because they're like not balanced properly and they're kind of old. And so not always mixed correctly. Create new script. Same again, resource. And this one's going to be ammo resource, right? Create. How do you spell resource? It's right there. And the export of remaining max ammo. We're just gonna like move some of the stuff into the ammo resource. So the max ammo would be 30, and then the current ammo, right? I mean, actually, magazine capacity. Let's keep it sensible. Capacity. Max ammo is a different thing. Magazine capacity is an int. That's why it's getting an error. This looks like shit. Let's change it to that. Right? So we go, magazine capacity is 30. Current ammo, let's put that on top. Is also an int. Let's make it equal to 30. What else did I have in the slot that I've always wanted to change? The reserve ammo, which was the amount, the maximum ammo that you can hold in an... No, that was the number of clips. Right, so then... But, like, the ammo resource shouldn't really be in charge of how many ammos it is. That doesn't make any sense. So maybe that actually should be the weapon slot. So you have an ammo resource, and then Maybe you can have multiple types. It could be a dictionary. It could be, I mean, it could be a multitude of different things. I'm trying to think. I guess for now, let's just keep it an int. Like, let's just call it ammo clips. And it'll just be like one times the other, like the number of this multiplied by ammo dot magazine capacity or whatever the heck. And then that's how many ammos you have. Or the current ammo, I suppose. What did I say? Yeah, current ammo. And they just can't be more than 30 for the current ammo. So you can, yeah, we'll work on that. I've got it in my head how that's going to work, but don't worry about it. I'll make it work. Okay, so now we go back to the weapon manager. And this is no longer a weapon resource. This is an array of weapon slot, which changes how we do things, especially for the weapon index. Cannot be assigned to type weapon resource, right? Because current weapon slot, well, I mean, that's easy enough to change. This just goes to weapon slot. But this expects a weapon resource. You gave me goose. Oh yeah, we can put the goose gun in. We're saved. Goose FBX, nice. Okay, I'll have to use that at some point. On weapon changed. Current weapon slot. Dot. Weapon. Right? Because that's what we're changing. So let's think about what we're doing here. Current weapon slot equals weapon.index. Right, we're changing the current weapon and then we're omitting it to be changed when we change. Okay, that makes sense. Right. So now we have ammo. We just need to shoot. You gotta shoot. How hard is it to make it shoot? I'm building up to it. Don't worry. I'm trying to skip the part where I iterated for 1,000,000 times. I iterated so much on the FPS one, and now it's just like, okay, just go straight to that, which requires like a lot of setup. Because the weapon resource, do I even have it? I've got weapon to drop, I've got projectile to load, which is like a whole thing. This is going to be different again, but the same enough. Like, it's not going to be... Okay, so let me show you what the problem was with the projectile to load the previous one. So this is the FPS, and in the projectile to load, there was probably a little bit too much assumed. That makes sense. Projectile. So whenever we had a projectile, we would have a type, and you had to choose in a drop-down whether or not it was hit scan, projectile, or override. Why? Why was it like this? Just have it be multiple different classes, right? So you've got class name projectile, and then you'll have some base things like you still need the function set projectile, and you'll still need the function fire projectile, and maybe even the camera ray class. Like we can just keep using that. That's fine to be on the base class. But then we should have a subclass for a rigid body projectile, for a hit scan projectile, and we can have different kinds. Maybe you just want a camera-based hit scan projectile, one that just does damage directly from the camera. You don't want to do a second hit scan. Frame drop from 2 goose doos. Okay, yeah, I'm losing frames. I don't know how to fix it. My internet shit. I live in Australia. I can't do anything about it. Yeah, I'm watching it on the monitor. It's not great. So sorry about that. It is what it is. I just stopped streaming. Okay, so yeah, so that's what I'm thinking. This whole like drop down just needs to go away, and fire projectile needs to be something that you define in each class, which is fine. It'll just allow for like greater simplicity in terms of like what you're actually creating, I think. Or it's just better that way. This is kind of confusing. I had a lot of people think that you had to use the camera for raycasts, which is definitely not true. I'm just using it here because we're using the camera to figure out where we're looking, because that's where we're looking. It just makes sense. So we need to make this class in our new project, but different and better. Always so easy. Make it the same but better. They're complicated. Right. We need a new scene. Do we need a new scene? We just need a script. The weapon manager. Projectile to load. We just call it projectile? Is it projectile? Projectiles, plural. I capitalized it again. This one will inherit node 3D because we do need to raycast, and it will be it would just be called projectile. Projectile. Class name. No, extends node 3D. I got a little bit ahead of myself there. Class name. Projectile. Rigid body, debug details. Okay, so we've got a bunch of, if I'm looking at the other settings, the other variables we've got, we really don't have much that we need to bring over. Damage, projectile spawned, we don't need that. Hit objects, maybe? I don't know what I was doing with that. That was for like rocket launchers and stuff. It would be in the rocket launcher projectile. It wouldn't be here. Okay, so yeah, it's just the function set projectile, right? It's got like a bunch of stuff. And then we just need fire projectile. Like, this is just a class, right? And then we just type like pass. Doesn't return anything. Rigid body projectile is not declared in the current scope. What? Rigid body projectile? Oh, we don't need that. Why would we have that? Because we needed both just in case, because the fire projectile did everything. Then we would... How could we satisfy that for both? We don't. Fire projectile is something that gets overridden, which means this is optional. How do you make a pack scene optional? Equals new pack scene. Does that work? Is that allowed? Oh yeah, now it's just like, yeah, origin point can't be vector equals vector 3.0. Is origin point optional? Would it be optional? Should they all be optional? Range? We do need that. I don't know, man. Vector 3.0. Let's change that to be this one. Warning treated as error. Set projectile has no static return type. It's too big to fit on my screen. void, it doesn't return nothing. Same with this one. Happy? Happy days. Okay. Alright. Right. Override collision. Camera raycast is the next function that we need to implement. And I don't really see any reason to change what I'm already doing here. It's pretty basic. This is just a bulk standard raycast function. So we can just straight up copy and paste that, because we're going to want to use this a lot. So it does need to be in the base class. But there's a lot it's not happy with. Okay. Camera raycast has no static return type. Yeah, well, that's easy to fix. It does return something. It returns an array. Right, that's correct. It doesn't always return an array. It actually returns two different things depending on what it... That's pretty funny. Okay, let's fix that. Camera has no static type. It's a camera. And then these look gross. Let's make them lowercase. Let's just fix up all these like variables and stuff so that they're like, this really doesn't need to be low. Just that. Okay, great. Ray origin not declared. All right, it needs a typing. What is this? It's a vector 2i, I believe. Cannot assign vector 3. Oh, okay. Well, there's my answer. It's actually a vector 3. Right. And then I suppose ray end would be the same. Probably faster to just write it from scratch again. Why does this need to have a thingo in front of it? No reason for it. Red does, range does. Okay, happy days. Ray origin. Okay, now it's just not happy because I'm changing it all to Pascal case. No, snake case. New intersection. New intersection, hit from inside. We don't need this anymore because we're on the outside of the object, but there is actually a collision shape on the camera so that if it gets too close to the character, it knows to disappear. So there's that. So we keep that for now. New intersection. Bar intersection equals direct space new intersection. Actually, I want to change the name of this variable because I never liked the way it was called. It should just be called new ray cast because that's what it is. It's a new ray query is what it should be called, not new intersection. Right? And then the intersection is get space state intersect ray. This actually is the ray cast. I don't know. It's a dictionary, right? If not, intersection is empty. And then here we go. Intersection is not. And now it's like beep, beep, beep. Return. Oh, collision is an array. There we go. I could just type that there. I didn't even realize before. Because it's not typed. Now it is. Right, and if it's that, ray end not declared in the current scope. That's easy. Okay, cool. Now we have a camera raycast function that returns. Do you guys like what I did here? Do you know there's two things? There's like a problem with raycasting from the camera in Godot 4 that didn't exist in Godot 3, and it's when you get the window and the viewport. So like typically, in order to raycast from the center of the camera, you need to know the size of the viewport, right? But and so you can just call like get viewport, right? And then divide it by 2. But what is the viewport? And what size is it? If you change the size, so if you go to project settings and under window, you can change the viewport height and width, which is fine. But if you change the stretch mode to viewport, I think that's what happens. And then you change if you go to advanced and you change the height and width override, say for example, you make it 800 by 600, but it's actually on a 1080p screen, you have problems because the window and the viewport are no longer the same, and Godot 4 for some reason has a hard time dealing with that and knowing the viewport size. So the viewport size would no longer be 800 by 600, it would actually be, or maybe it would be 800 by 600, but that's not the center of the screen anymore because it's a 1080p screen. Either way, there's a mismatch. So you do need to check the content scale mode of the window before you actually determine what the viewport is. So if the content scale mode viewport, which we just talked about, then you want to get window.content scale size, which will give you the correct size to use, which will be the center of your screen. If you use canvas item, it's the same. And if you use scale mode disabled, which is like a traditional, not a traditional, a modern 3D game would use this. This is what I use for everything. Then you can use window.getSize, which is like the size of the window, because in that case you're not actually changing the size of the viewport, and it'll work. And so like in order to get around that, I don't know a single function that'll get the right answer both times. Like it's either going to be content scale size or get size, but it depends on the scale mode. And I don't know if there's a function that will give me the right answer for both situations. I haven't been able to find one, so I just have like a little match here. I could probably take this one out and just be like, I could also say if not, right, window content scale mode disabled, then use content scale size. But I don't know if this is, I haven't tested enough, so I'm just covering all my cases. Easy to change if it turns out that you should be using something else. This one seems to work, but yeah, I don't know. We'll just roll with that. It's easy enough. Okay, what else is here? We are ignoring layer 5. We'll just use that for our bullets again. That makes sense. You don't want to intersect with those, with the bullets that are flying across your screen. There's no point. Okay, cool. We have a camera raycast function. Let's have a look. What else do we need to add to this? We need a hit scan collision that can be in the hit scan. We're going to check pass through, hit scan damage, load decal. Yeah, I suppose if we've got a decal, we can load that. We're going to want to do that. Also, this needs to be lowercased. Let's lowercase this, lowercase that. And technically, because they're a part of the base class, they should be underscored. I believe that's the correct way to do it. And this needs to be lowercased. Cool. And some of these as well. All right. Okay. Cool. All right. So load decal. Yeah, I suppose we want to keep that in the base class. I assume we want to do that for every single one of them. Look at use. Look at use? Look at use? I don't understand what you're saying, Goose Fat. Don't know. Anyway. Okay, so we've got load decal, debug, look at us. Look at us? I don't know what you're saying, man. Load decal. So it wants the position, the normal. I would say we also need to type these. So the position is a vector 3. I'd say both of these. Normals are vector 3s, right? And I also, I guess since it's part of the base class, we want the actual decal. And that is a pack scene. Right? And then we replace debug bullet with that. And then there's a bool for debug. I guess I should change this to load debug decal. We'll do that. And then we can create a variable called, what is it called? Display debug decal. Equal to true. This is an export variable. Load debug decal has no static type. It does not return anything. Okay, what's next? It's not happy. What would this be? This is just a node 3D because I don't actually know the type. That's how you get around it. You're just like, yeah, it's in the node 3D family. It'll work. What's the world? I don't know. What does get root? Does it return? Why does it never take me to what I want it? Get root. Root. It's a window? Okay. Alright then. I didn't know that. Is that right? Okay. And then we add the child. Then we global translate it along the normal. This is a very traditional way of doing it. I haven't worked out how to use the new decal like node. Well, I have tested it and I haven't had very good success. So I generally have just skipped it for now. Okay, so what else might we need for this projectile? Control F equals find. Yep, that's correct. On body entered, timer timeout, key free, check pass through. I don't know what that is for. All right, yeah, cool. We got enough here. We can create the next script. So save that and let's go back to this and go create new script. And I actually want to go with rigid body projectile. So it will inherit projectile. And the script will be called rigid body projectile. Right, create. And this will have a class name. And it will be called rigid body projectile. I don't think it needs ready or delta, but what it does need is to override the fire projectile override the fire projectile function. Right? And this is where I'm sort of like taking that, it's not really visible, taking this match type here and just like setting that up as class hierarchy because it's kind of just confusing if it's not. So basically we're going to get the camera collision and then we're going to create a function called launch rigid body projectile. Because I feel like in a 3D third person shooter, a rigid body projectile is probably going to look better than a hit scan. I mean, there could still be hit scan weapons, I suppose, but they're not going to be as commonly used because it looks weird from the third person perspective. I guess if you had like particle effects and stuff, it would be fine, but if you didn't, then it would be weird. Okay, so yeah, let's create the function for the rigid body projectile. it's just going to error out on me all over the shop. First of all, let's just lowercase everything, please and thank you. Collision data, projectile, origin point. These all need to be typed. This is an array. An egg shot a goose. An egg shot. Okay. Projectile is a rigid body, but it's not. It's a packed scene. And which comes from the fire projectile function. Maybe it just doesn't need to be in the fire projectile function. The origin point is a vector 3. And it returns nothing. Maybe it won't need to be that. Point is a vector 3. The normal is a vector 3. Maybe this should be a dictionary. That would be more readable, right? Projection top level true, position equals origin point, projectile spawned, dot pushback. Okay, so this is where we've got the variable projectile spawned, so that we keep track of them. Basically, projectile spawned. Although, do we really need to keep track of them in an array? I think maybe I was a bit confused about how many, like, oh no, you know what? Because if it's a shotgun, that's why I had that there. So if we're doing scene, if we're doing class hierarchy, then we don't need to worry about that, because that's just going to be somewhere else. Okay. On body entered is not declared. On body entered, and it takes a projectile, which is a rigid body, and it takes a normal. Which is a vector 3. Returns nothing. Pass. Okay, direction is vector 3 again. Super exciting stuff here, guys. I promise at the end of this we'll have something actually happening. Set linear velocity and then projectile velocity. Projectile velocity is a variable, right? It is. Who should be in control of that? The projectile or the weapon? I think the projectile for now. And then we've also got expiry time, because if it doesn't hit anything, we need to delete it after a second. Essentially. So what we can do is in the ready function, we can create a ready function. So when this exists, we can also get on timer timeout, you know. Sorry, I'm copying from somewhere else. On timer timeout, we'll do a void. And then just paste that into the ready function. And so what that will do is after 10 seconds, if the projectile doesn't hit anything, it just disappears. Okay, so what do we actually need to do? We need to deal damage. We haven't done that yet. That's on the on body entered. So this is the question. Do we need to go away from the ising group and has method? Because I think we do. Right? we can use componentry to do damage. So we would leave it up to, the thing is, if it's a hit scan 1, it's probably still, we're still going to need to trigger something on the rigid body, or like on the projectile. The projectile needs to trigger the other thing because like a raycast doesn't do anything on its own, and it doesn't emit signals. So we're still going to need to call a function on this rigid body. That makes the most sense, I would say. And if that's the case, then here do we do the exact same thing? Sure, an object could, like if it was an area 3D, could detect the rigid body and then just get the data for itself if we attached it to the projectile. Or if we, yeah, I mean it could, right? But right now we're just using the on body connected, like we're not, the rigid body is literally a rigid body. It doesn't have a script on it, doesn't need to. So that is good because it keeps things simple. But it does mean that we need to, on body entered, probably get information about the body. Right? Have I misnamed the variables here? We get 3 back. We get body, projectile, and right, but we just have to bind the 1. So we do get a body, which is a node 3D, right? Node 3D. So then if we created like a target type, so this is kind of like what it would be like, right? We could go if body is target, assuming it was a type of thing, then we can just like call a function, right? Target dot take damage, or just like target dot hit successful, which is what I used to do. Hit successful. And then pass in the exact same information, right? Like you want to know probably just the damage in this case. We don't need to give it too much information depending on what we're doing with it. And then we just need to create a thing called target, right? For this to actually function correctly. And it has to have a successful, hit successful. Rather than using groups, groups work, classes could work better. I don't know. Could go either way. But if we're raycasting, right, like if it's just a raycast, then we need to actually get that information back, look at what it is, and then go, yeah, you're done for, or whatever the heck. Like you need that anyway, so we might as well do it this way. I don't know, I guess is the answer. What's better? People seem to think this. I've used this pretty good for like object picking before. It works pretty well. But we do need to just create an object. What can we create? Right? Like make it another person. Can we get a model? Mixamo? It's gonna make me relog. So annoying. We've got the pink one. What if we had the blue one? Don't mind me just opening up my password manager on stream. Error has occurred. Oh no, I got the password wrong. It's not working. Oh, there it goes. Adobe. I've leaked too much stuff for me to leak more. Okay, we did it. We didn't drop passwords for our Adobe account. We survived. Alright. Can I get the blue model? Ybot. Because before chat to MT, chat to me? I don't know what you're trying to say, man. Can I download T-pose, origin pose? I want the animation as well, like the default animation. Okay, so I've chosen that as the as a character. So now if I just do like an idle, this will be good if I want to do like enemy tutorials. Happy idle, dwarf idle, orc idle, ninja. What do we use? Just idle. I'm gonna use this one. Right. With skin, 30 frames per second. This way it'll be a character body 3D. The last tutorial I used a rigid body like a box. It was okay. I guess we'll make all three types. No, where do I want to save this? Documents, Godot, tutorials, state machine, enemy, model, Ybot, save. Awesome. Okay, so let's create that object. What the heck? Empty. Other character body, right? Character body 3D. Needs a mesh, so that will just make it a collision shape, right? And the collision shape can be a capsule. And then we want to go to the enemy, and the model and the Ybot can go there, and we can reset that to that. And I guess we can bring this up as well. Whatever. Make him slim. That works just fine. Make it local and go to the animation player. This one here, set it as auto so we don't actually have to do anything. We go to the enemy and we just go enemy, right? Now, obviously you can't take damage because it's just doing this. It's not doing anything. Cannot change leap mode on an animation embedded in another scene. This is super annoying. What we need to do is actually re-import that and save that, right? So I guess we could just go linear and then re-import, right? But I made it local, so we can't do that. So let's just delete. Oh my god. And then bring it back in, and then make local, and then animation, choose mixer mode, and it's looping, and now it's auto playing. Happy days. Okay. Okay, so yeah, this guy can't take damage. Not like this. The rigid body would hit him for sure, but it's not going to do anything, right? So, actually, what we need to do is create an area 3D. We can pull as the target area, Or like a damage area. Maybe I change the name. Give it a shape, a collision shape. It can be exactly the same size as its body, believe it or not. I made it a sphere. Yep. Let's just copy that one. What is it? Height 1.8, radius 2.4. About there. Yeah, good enough. In fact, we'll make it a little bit smaller because, like, this guy. I mean, here's the thing. Like, you could have multiple, right? To create like a hitbox, and you can attach them to nodes. On the, like, you could get really specific, right? You create these things called bone attachments, right? And you can attach to the head, and then have a damage area attached to that, and then make it just like a spheroid, right? Does it work this way? I don't actually know. Where is it? No, it's all messed up. What's going on here? Why is my thing all the way up there? The transform all messed up on this. There we go. There we go. Okay, we're cooking now. And then you just make this small and whatever. It's on his head, and it would be no matter where he goes. Like, obviously he's not moving that much, but like, that's how you would do like all these different. Can this be outside of the skeleton? Does it work? No, it's like, yeah. Parent node is not a skeleton. It has to be inside. Should I include that? That's kind of cool. I suppose it should be actually a capsule shape. Make it generous. This could work. I have the skills now. Head damage. Head attachment. You can offset the collision shape to make it better. Yeah, you'd have to play it around a little bit. It's kind of like a bit tricky, isn't it? That's better. I mean, you don't want to be too mean about it. But yeah. Now he has a head area attachment for damage. And then we could do one for the body. Brain attachment. I don't want to do too many because I'll be here forever. Body. Let's put the E at the end of attachment. You can do it like enums on the damage area, like head, chest, arms, and legs. And default? Yeah. Area 3D. And this needs to be the I suppose spine. Why is it cranky? Is not bound to any bones. Please select the bone. It is bound to a bone. What the heck are you saying? Area 3D, collision shape, capsule shape. When you hit that head, you get that satisfying sound play. Yeah, we can add that. I think. Depends how far I want to go with it. Now, we probably don't want to have these overlap too much, do we? Dude, I can't see shit. We can change the color, right? I think it wouldn't matter even if I could. Damage area. I mean, these are all going to be the same. Realistically, I haven't written the script yet. I got to write the script for it. Monitoring, monitorable. But yeah, you could go on like you could get real deep. I'd recommend you make a hitbox area scene and instantiate it for each of the gliders. Yes. I should have done that first. Rather than just adding it here and being like, yeah, I'll do it later. I was cooking, alright? Damage area. Attach script. Damage area. I guess I need to create another thing. Assets, enemy player, state machine, weapons. Really should be. Damage. Damage. I don't want it to be on the base. It's called objects. I always have a folder called objects. Damage area. Create, save this, not in enemy, but in object. And realistically, like the area 3D just exists for us to be able to detect. Like we're not actually going to be calling any of the functions, you know? It's just like we need to know that something is there. So it's monitoring multiple class name. Now, what did I call it when I was doing the projectile before? Where'd it go? Now I said is target, but we're going to change that to damage area. Right? And then we just pass on the damage and it does the rest. So it's like a base damage. Nah, we'll just leave it called damage, it's fine. We don't even have that variable here. Anyway. Damage area, class name. Damage area. Save that. Okay. And then the function was hit successful, right? Not found. Well, it's about to be. Don't worry. Hit successful. Damage. We had to take a bunch of other stuff from the other one, but for now we'll just have it be void. And then pass. Okay, so we can do what am I thinking? Like for like headshots and different damages. Post an example of Hurtbox I did in 2D on Discord. Yeah, on Hurt, var is friendly. Also, yeah. If area is hitbox, area is friendly. Yeah, okay, so we're doing the exact same thing, pretty much, except I'm calling the function directly. I suppose it doesn't really matter. Export damage multiplier. Right? For like headshots and stuff. It can be a float and it can be equal to 1. Right? Unexpected identifier in class body. This needs to be a float. What? Export var. Why do I keep forgetting that today? And then we're just gonna do the total damage, net damage, gross damage. I'm thinking in finance terms. Equals damage multiplied by damage multiplier. And then we just emit, which we don't have yet. We go if no, what am I doing? We go signal on hurt, on damage. We'll go on damage, and then we'll emit a damage multiplier. Let's call that damage. It's a float. And then we can emit that to the enemy. So that's how it'll work. On damage, dot emit. Gross damage. Good enough. Alright. So then, yeah, I guess like I was explaining before, the reason I have to actually just call this function directly from the projectile is because hit scans don't emit signals. So there's a call down, signal up, all that stuff. Yeah, but I guess we're calling sideways here. Like where they exist in the scene tree isn't exactly known. It's a problem with raycasts. They don't signal, so you can't signal up. You have to call. I suppose we could get the object and emit a signal to it. Couldn't we? Couldn't we? But if I do that, I mean, yeah, I could do that, I suppose. It's kind of annoying. Yeah, but like the thing is, I'm thinking through it. It's like, yeah, I guess I could do that, but there's like 2 extra lines. I have to connect the signal anyway. Might as well just call the function. It's like you're already there. Anyway, we'll think about it as we go along. It might change. I might change my mind on that, but I think I'm going to call the function directly. Anyway, so now we have a damage area. Raycasts, yeah, they're a pain in the ass. I actually don't like them that much when it comes to... I would rather use an area 3D because it does have a signal, but in the case of like camera and object picking, so like for shooting things, you have to use a raycast. So when you shoot a raycast, you get a result back of what you hit, which in our case will be the damage area, and then you know what it is that you hit, and so you could connect the signal and emit it to it, or you could just call the function on it. You're going to have to do one of the both times you're calling functions directly on that object anyway. So, can I just change type? Damage area. We could do it with the rigid bodies, but I'm not gonna because I'm lazy, and it's like I'm gonna have to call a function on. So like we just set up a system where it's always the same, no matter what. We're not expecting 2 different things. In my mind, that's how it's working. We haven't actually got there yet. Okay, so we've got a boy here with he's got a body and he's got a head attachment, but if you shoot him in the legs, he won't take damage. Is that right? I don't know. Let's make him a bit thicker because I don't want to do arms. I guess we'll just create one more. Bone attachment, and we'll call it legs. I'd rather have a projectile weapon instead of a raycast, but it can be tricky when you have super fast projectiles. Yeah, it depends. I think people have come to expect, because it's funny you say that, because even when you do a hit scan, you still create a particle to represent a projectile, but like hit scanning is pretty common in shooting. Whether or not that should be that way, I don't know. Like realistically, now with Godot 4, in Godot 3, it was pretty much mandatory to use hit scan because the physics wasn't good enough to do like actual fast projectiles. Like you couldn't do a fast one. It could only be slow. Like you could do rocket launches or like say like the Halo plasma gun, you know, that's kind of slow projectile. You could do that, no problems. But if you wanted to go fast, it wouldn't, the rigid body would go through the object. Godot 4 is better. Basically, you can use projectiles for everything if you want to. You really don't need a hit scan anymore, but it's still pretty good. Feels nice as like from an FPS, not about third person, but from a FPS perspective, I think hit scan feels better. It's more immediate, even though that's not how guns work. I guess this will just be connected at his hip. And then we'll just offset this so that it's lower. Something like this. These are no longer the same, so let's just make unique. Alright, so damage multiplier, make it like 0.2, body attachment 1, head attachment 2, right? Yeah, it's actually pretty interesting. Say, I actually ended up removing it from the FPS Pro, but originally there was a sniper rifle in the FPS Pro, and I used rigid body projectiles because I got the drop down. I got the drop for free, you know? Like, you don't have to calculate wind and all that in your raycast. Like, why would you do that when you can just spawn a rigid body? Easy. It's nice to have both. We're going to go with the projectiles actually for this one. So, but I'm going to do both because generally that's what people have come to expect. But damage area legs. Okay, yeah, 0.2. It's really just the lower part of his legs. Does it all overlap? We want to cover the entire area. So they should overlap a little. I don't know. We'll see. This is my first time ever doing something like this, so who knows? I only learned about the leg attachment. I only learned about attachments the other day. Good enough. Make this one a little bit bigger. Probably too big. Okay. So we've got them all. We've got the damage multiplier there. It's 1, it's 2, it's 0.1. Also had a thought on 2 bullet drop with raycast, but never had a good idea. Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, I don't know. It's like, it's hard. I don't really want to think about it. If I was ever going to like complete a project and make a game and I had snipers in it, I would just use rigid bodies. I just wouldn't even try. I don't have the mental capacity for that. It's too much physics. Okay, cool. So we can call this function. We have to admit that to a script. So I guess we put it on the enemy. The enemy could have like a health. Like you could get like really componentary. For now, I'm not going to do that for now. Can't be bothered right now, but I'll think about it. Create. Oh look, it can just move. I shouldn't have done that. It actually isn't going to do anything right now. It's just going to sit there. It might as well just be a static body. Export var health int equals 100. And then function. Oh, well, let's just emit. We have to connect all of these. Super annoying. On damage. Should put them in a group or something. Be a little bit easier. But for now, on damage area on damage, we'll just do that. Because I can't be bothered. Connect all three. Works for me. check health. Or like reduce health, I don't know. You really have to go down a rabbit hole to get some of this stuff working, eh? Reduce health, an amount. It's going to be like amount, AMT, it's a float, doesn't return anything. So health minus equals amount if health is less than or equal to 0, then key free. Quaternion, okay. We'll just do something really simple for now, and then reduce health and damage. Satisfactory? I thought that game was out already. Is it like, was it in beta or something? I've never played it. I'm not much of like a RTS kind of guy. Satisfactory. That's a... Is it an RTS? Early access game. Base building. Oh, okay. I don't know about this one. No sound? Sound. I don't get it. Okay, so it's like a first person. You know, I've never really been into like base building games, and like I guess this is like the vibe I'm getting is like Rust. It's even Minecraft, right? It's the same kind of vibe, right? What was that game where you go under the water? The submarine one? I don't know why. It's a cool trailer. Subnautica, yeah, that's it. Yeah, like I never even really played that. So what do you do in this game? You just like survive? Is that all it is? Is it multiplayer? Online co-op, cross-platform multiplayer? It's not base building game, it's a factory game. It's all about creating production lines, and there's a storyline. That's cool. I should put it on my wish list. I need to like widen my horizons. Automation. Right. $1.8. Overwhelmingly positive. Could you imagine? 143,000. Dude, that's awesome. Coffee Stain Studios. This is all they made? Oh, they made tons of stuff. Like Deep Rock Galactic as well. That's on my wish list. Cool. Cool, cool. Okay, so everything is in place, I believe, because we've got the rigid body projectile. It's going to call hit successful. It's saying no, damage area directly, make an instance instead. My bad. It should be body.hit successful damage. Cool. All right. So that should be everything, really. We are going to fire the projectile, which means we're going to do a camera raycast and then pass on that information to the rigid body. What? Will I release a commercial game? I don't know if I've got it in me. I want to. I've sort of got a couple of ideas. The thing is, I need to like create a plan. My biggest issue is not having a plan. I've got a couple of ideas that I want to create. We were working on like a wave shooter, but like the exact mechanics of that was like kind of vague, and I didn't really have anything. And like I need to create more content for YouTube. The machine keeps rolling, and so I want to do that, but while also like not exploring, but like really nailing down like control. Why are your chat messages disappearing? I don't know. They're probably getting auto-modded because I'm not doing anything. So I'm sorry about that. If anything, I actually don't know any games. But yeah, I don't know. Like the answer is yes, I do want to, but do I have like current plans? No, I do need to write a game design document for the thing that I was working on a couple of weeks ago, so that I can like really. Oh, you wanted to watch? Oh yeah, we can watch the proper trailer for the game. Come on, doing that. Where is YouTube? So yes, the answer is yes, but I do need to get a really strong plan in place. Satisfactory. Trailer. Reveal trailer, early access, launch trailer, announcement, update 3 trailer, update 6, all reveal trailer? I don't know. Number 2. Yeah. It looks amazing. Ark? Is it like Ark as well? The dinosaur game? But like with base building and automation. That's pretty cool. So like I guess base building but also survival? Because they were fighting dinosaurs before. It's pretty cool. I know it by name and the fact that it's all pixel art and stuff, but yeah. They went 3D with it. People love it from the sounds of it. 1.2. For those who don't know, the graphics is as close as you get to the real game. No cinematic rendering shenanigans. Yeah, well, wait, people were questioning that? I guess maybe 5 years ago. I don't know. I feel like I can tell that kind of stuff. But yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, no, I think it looks like fun. I have to put it on my wish list. Okay, so fire projectile. What are we doing here? Where's my cheat sheet? So we got the camera collision, which is just an array. And it's equal to camera raycast. and that wants a spread. We'll just pass in the default vector 2, 0 spread. That should be default. These all should be default. Accidentally deleted the E. The trailer is like 5 years old. Yeah, I guess it's been around for a while and I've never heard of it. It's crazy. It's so crazy how many games there are. You just like never even hear about it. Dude, I just like, sometimes I think about like when you get into a game, right? And these days, like you get into them for a long time. Like obviously I played World of Warcraft for a really long time. And then I played Dota 2 forever. Like such a long time. I was just playing Dota 2 and like there were so many games coming out and you're not even aware of them because you just spend like any free time that you have playing that one game. Right. And then I moved from that to like Rocket League and PUBG. And it's like in that space, like they're making so many games. And you just don't even see them, don't play them. Can you list your games in like most played in Steam? Sort by recent activity. Last played, hours played. I guess it is Dota 2 is my most played game. And then, oh, you guys probably can't see that. Godot, which is pretty funny. And Blender. And then Rocket League. Counter-Strike after that. Really? I would have expected more from these Elder Scrolls. Yeah, obviously I'm an MMO guy, so that's a thing. Huh. I would have expected more. But I guess not. I guess I don't play that many games, eh? Only 50 hours in Skyrim. Far Cry 3 is a banger. Yeah, I agree. It's actually a really good game. What else have we got? I played... well, I got that on release back in 2011. What else is here? This game is sick. MCC, I don't know which one that is. What's MCC? Master Chief Collection? With a Halo? In 2020, I realized I only ever played Halo 1 and 2. Like I played Halo 1 and Halo 2 on original Xbox back when they first came out. But after Xbox 360, I actually got a Nintendo Wii. And like never played Halo 3, 4, 5 or whatever. And so like when this was on special, I picked it up and yeah, I played through all of them now. And so now I'm up to date. And then I got like a free trial of the Xbox Game Pass and played Halo Infinite as well. Or Halo 5 isn't on this, but I got the free trial of Xbox Game Pass and played Halo 5 via like streaming software, which sucked, but I made it through. And then played Halo Infinite. So now I'm up to date on the story. It really fell off after Halo 3, but whatever. We roll with it. I can't believe I've got 20 hours in Rift. I barely even remember playing it. Anyway. Okay, so we got the camera raycast, and then we just fire the projectile. Albion Online felt soulless. I really enjoyed the PvE, like going into the dungeons, or what, there were like solo dungeons that kind of felt like you were playing Diablo, but it was a more PvP based MMO, and like it's full loot, right? 3 in Reach the best. Hot take, I reckon Halo 3 ODST is the best Halo game. But that's just me. That game is legitimately, like, the story is probably the best one out of all of them. It just felt, maybe it's because you're not the Master Chief, and maybe because you're not, like, a Spartan. It's something about it just felt like you felt the struggle of the character in that game. Like, you're a recruit, you end up like out of place, and you're just trying to scramble and connect back with your team and figure out what the heck's going on. That game is like S tier. But yeah, Albion Online, it was full loot, right? For PvP. And I did not like that. And because of that, I didn't really like playing it. Is it full loot? PvP? It's only in certain areas, I think. 7 steps to stop being afraid of full loot PvP. Yeah, I don't know. That's just not me. And then I just stopped playing because, like, you can't do anything if you don't venture out of the scary areas. Okay. Launch rigid body projectile. That's what we're doing next. Launch rigid body projectile. Collision data is camera collision. The projectile is a pack scene. We need to add that. And we also need the origin point. So those are some things that we need to think about here. Okay. Export rigid body projectile to pack scene. Right. Awesome. That should all really be what we need for this. We just need to create the rigid body projectile, and then probably, I don't know, like, we'll see. It should work in theory. We've done a lot of setup for it. We won't have any weapon reaction. I think I'm gonna need to. I said at the start of this that I didn't want to do another IK, but I'm gonna need to do an IK for the player so that the weapon moves properly. But we'll work on that later. Okay, so we need to create a rigid body. That's super easy because we're not going to do much with it. Let's get that back. Hey, Sparkle, thanks for your help with the player controller. Got busy with the day and the fam, then going to check it out tonight. Yeah, no worries, man. Look forward to watching this VOD too. Awesome, dude. Hey. Happy to help. Other node. Rigid body. In theory, everything should go smoothly. And this needs to be a mesh. And it can be a capsule mesh, and then we'll rotate it on its side so it looks like a bullet. It's also like way too big, right? Like 0.1, we should divide it by 10. Go back on its side. I hate working with these because you never know. That's probably too small. I can't even see it now. Let's divide it by 4. What? 2 divided by 4 is not... Oh, it's because they're in like sync. They're in sync with each other. Fine, I'll do it like this. I thought it would be like 0.25, right? Is that too small? I don't know. Capsules and cylinders make for amazing bullet. Yeah, we'll go with it. And then it just needs a collision shape. Now the trick with the collision shape is to make it a little bit bigger than the bullet itself. This is the projectile. This is a rigid body projectile. So it needs to be in the player and in the... I guess we'll make it a part of the models. I don't know. Rigid body projectile. Fine. Bullet. Okay. And then we'll just add material to it to make it look like a laser. So, albedo, what color is a laser? Firing my laser. Is it going to be green? I guess we'll make it green. And then we just give it an emission, right? What's going on? I want it to be green. Works for me. Okay. And lastly, we need to create... See, this is the part that's probably a little bit confusing. You have to create a rigid body projectile, which would be here as a node 3D, and then give it a rigid body projectile. I don't know about that, but that's how we're doing it right now. Because I want to get this done. I'll think about it. It should be probably more simple than that. Models, rigid bodies, rigid body bullet. Projectile velocity, let's make it 10. It's pretty slow. And then save that as a rigid body projectile number 1. Because I'm imaginative. And realistically, we probably need to go back to the rigid body. And I'm going to take off gravity. Mass is fine, but gravity can be 0. You don't want it to have any fall, because it's a laser. Cheap viewers. Cheap viewers. Mods asleep. I am my own mod. Hey, CPT Fubar. Is that a new node? A rigid body projectile? Nah, it's just one that I made. If that makes sense. That music is loud, eh? Oh, no, it's alright. Yeah. We made that. So now we've got the rigid body projectile, yada, yada, yada. If we go all the way back to the enemy, no, the player, Jesus. If we go back to the player and in the weapon manager, we can add a weapon, a new weapon slot, and that's going to have a weapon, which will have a resource and an ammo resource, and so many things, so many little bits and pieces. We're going to bring them all together, and I swear to God, it's going to work first time, no problems. Weapon manager, projectiles, weapon resources, rifle 1. Right. Ammo, new ammo. Current ammo, 30-30. Ammo clip. We're going to have 1. I haven't written anything for this. I think I'm just going to let it shoot. And we don't have any other weapons. That's fine, right? That's fine. I think. Alright, cool. Let's try to make it shoot something. Function. Shoot. Do I ever feel lonely making games? You know what? I feel less lonely now that I stream. I did, yeah, for sure, because I don't know anyone in real life that does this. But now that I stream, it's cool because I can hang out with you guys while I do it, and we can talk about it, and we just like talk shop. It's actually like a lot better. I think the other thing that makes it a little bit challenging is having to like set up everything in my room I'm in, and like the stream stuff. Like, I'm very good at being lonely though. Like, I don't really do much. I never leave my house. Function shoot. Right, so what are we going to do here? What did we do for the FPS? It was much more complicated. Weapon state machine. Load shoot. Right, so we did a bunch of checks. We're not going to do those here. We are going to do the... We're going to need to create a variable. But first, we just go if current weapon state is equal to weapon state ready. Right. We can proceed. Let's put past there. So the weapon resource needs to have a new variable on it for the fire rate. So we've got weapon stats, has ammo, magazine, max ammo. Some of these things we can remove. We have auto fire and fire range, but we don't have fire rate. So export var fire rate, because now we're not going to be using an animation to control all this. We need to know how often we need a fire, right? Fire rate. I guess it's a float. Default value of 0.3. Let's go with that. So I don't have to actually input anything to my current ones. Okay. So if the animation, right. So what do? We reduce the ammo. And then we load the projectile. I'm going to skip all of that. I'm just going to load the projectile for now. We're going to be able to... So, function load projectile. Probably have this take a weapon resource. Just in case. Otherwise, yeah, we would here actually check to make sure that you've got ammo to actually fire the weapon. Load projectiles. So we want current weapon slot dot weapon, and we pass that in, and so now load projectile has the weapon. What we can do is we can go, we can get an access to the projectile. So var projectile. Let's just call it proj. And this will be equal to weapon dot projectile to load dot instantiate. Right. We're going to instantiate that. Now it's going to be at a position. Well, it will need to be, because otherwise it's going to come from the camera. Or I don't know actually. So we are going to need that point, which is going to need to be on the weapon, which is interesting. So within the rifle, we've got a weapon model, and we will need to add another node to this called the, well, it can just be a node. I made a Marcus 3D in the last one, but realistically, node 3D, and this will be the bullet point, as I usually call it. And the bullet point, we can just manipulate that so that it's at the end of the rifle. Right, and then in this script, same thing as before, we just need to export var bullet point. Marker 3D, yeah, I could use a marker 3D. Bullet point. That's what I've done before. You just change type. It's the same thing actually. Marker 3Ds just have a gimbal. Gimbal? I don't know. They've got the, they do, see this thing here? They have that. You can see them in the space. It's very small though. Gizmo extents. Gizmo, that's what I'm looking for, not gimbal. So you can see it, that's exactly where it's gonna come out from. Easy. Right. And then we assign that here, and so that we can access it. Now, so tiny, yeah. Make it big. Makes me think the weapons are really big because the gimbal extends at 8.42. I don't know. That seems wrong. I don't know. Don't worry about it. Let's not think about it too hard. Test character, we don't need that. World player, yes, we do want that. So now we have that. Do we have that in space? So we do load that weapon, right? We never get it back. So also can serve as a particle spawning point. Yeah, for sure. When we get to that. Proj has no static type. It's a projectile. So we know where the bullet point is, but I think what we do is we go, when we change weapons, we actually pass that weapon off to the on weapon changed signal, and that goes to the animation player, and the animation player plays that animation and spawns that object, but it never passes it back to the weapon manager. So the weapon manager doesn't know. So on test character change weapon finished, should probably return something so that we can set it to be our bullet point, right? For our bullet point. And it's a marker 3D, right? And then have the signal here return a bullet point. Let's just go BP for short. And it's also a marker 3D. And then we can change state back to ready, and we can set BP to be equal to bullet point. No, bullet point equal to BB, bullet point equal BP, right? And so we just need to go back to the animation controller, animation control, and man, this looks so much cleaner than when I started, but so what we do is we emit that, and what we need to get is, so the next weapon is the weapon model. Now, when we, oh my god, these guys won't leave me alone today. So when we set the next weapon to null after we attach it. Maybe we should just not do that. Maybe we do that when we change the weapon back, which happens after we attach it to the bone. So we could go next weapon dot bullet point. I think that's what it's called. It's not a class, so it doesn't actually know what it is. Right? Weapon model attachment? Oh no, it does. Bullet point. Is next weapon typed? It's a pack scene. That's the problem. That's not helpful. So when we attach the bone, we instantiate it, weapon model, and we set the target, but we really need to store the bullet point. So I guess we have to create a variable so we can pass it around. equals, we'll just go var bullet point. What is it, a marker 3D? And what we can do is when we attach it to the weapon, we can say the bullet point is equal to new attachment dot bullet point, right? And now we have access to it. We can just go boop. Okay, and now we can also just set the next attachment. I don't know, next weapon to null. Who cares? Let's just leave it. Let's not null it out. Should we null it out? I don't know. Next weapon equals null. Just to make sure that we don't accidentally spawn it when we're not supposed to, but like, I don't know if that's helpful or not. Okay, so now we get that back, bullet point. We get that back. So theoretically, that gets returned, bullet point gets returned. So now we can, we're going around the block with this one. We load the projectile, and now we just need to call the function set projectile, right? We need the position. Oh my god. Are we even doing that properly in there? I don't know, I'm about to find out. I don't even know if these variables exist because I'm copying off a different project. Projectile dot position and rotation. I don't think so. Position. Oh no, we're actually setting the position. Okay, I understand what I'm doing here. This is new because of Godot 4.3. Bullet point equals global position. Equals bullet point dot global position. So we're finding the position in 3D space and we're setting our projectile to be that same position, right? And then same with rotation. I understand what I'm doing here. And I also know it's very necessary because there's no way out of this. Rotation, top level doesn't work anymore. Bullet point dot global rotation. Right. Then we're going to add it to add child. So bullet point dot add child projectile. Projectile. And then we call the function. Projectile dot set projectile. It's not auto filling it for me. That's weird. Should be able to do that. Why not? Fire projectile? I changed the name? No, set projectile is still the function I want to get. I don't know. Did I just not type it properly? I don't know. Oh yeah, it's got an underscore in front of it. Okay. Okay, damage. Weapon dot damage. Spread is optional. Range is optional. Origin point. I do need to pass that in, so. Or do I? I don't think I need that anymore. I think we get away with just that. And then, because origin point is a vector 2.0. What am I doing with that? Rigid body projectile? Position equals origin point. So I'm setting the position of this to the origin point. So I do need to give this to the but it also could just be the parent object, right? Like we've already set this position to be the position. Like, do we really need this? I don't think so. It does need to be top level, and then you could just go global position, right? Because this thing is already like in the position that we want it to be in. So we don't need to pass in the origin point. We can just use the global position. I'll remove that from the function. And now it's going to get cranky at me. Set projectile no longer takes an origin point. It's no longer required. Fire projectile doesn't need to happen like this. Range, origin point. I think it's gonna break. I think I'm messing up. Right, doesn't match the signature of the parent because I've got origin point here. Projectile pack scene new. Huh. So I'm passing in that, but I've also got an option to pass it in here. I don't think I need that, right? Like, actually don't need that. Origin point not declared in current scope. Ah. Okay. This is not necessary anymore. So fire projectile just needs the 2. It doesn't match the parent signature, which is fine because the parent signature, fire projectile had it there because I was copying another project, and so we get rid of that. So on and so forth. We just need spread and range, which is great because that's all we have here. Damage, spread, range. Not doing anything with spread there. Oh no, we are passing that through. Damage equals damage. Okay, that's fine. That all works. What about rigid body projectile? Damage. Damage. Okay, yes. Happy days. Back to the player. Weapon manager. And what am I seeing here? So we're going to set the projectile. We're going to pass in weapon damage. That's all we need to pass in. So we should be good to go. And then now that we've done that, we shoot, we go current weapon state is equal to weapon state dot unavailable, and then we create a timer, get tree dot create timer, and it'll be weapon slot dot weapon, right? Current weapon slot dot weapon, I should say. Same as here. Dot fire rate. Dot timeout. And dot connect. Oh my god, it's so long. And we need it passable, so then we create a function called make available, change state. I don't know. Fight. Next shot. Finish firing. We might need this for later. And then we can literally just like change state weapon ready. I've got a function for that. Why am I doing this? Something like that. This is probably not going to work. I have like very low hopes, if you know what I'm saying. Like very low hopes. I feel like I'm missing something. I don't know, let's see what happens, I guess. I mean, it didn't crash. Nothing came out though. I never set up input for it. I'm a fucking idiot. It's not, there's no input. Left. Typical, yeah. If event dot is action pressed, shoot, then shoot, I guess. Doesn't take anything, it just. Alright, moment of truth. Ouch. Core method instantiate on a null value. Okay. Because that must mean that the projectile to load is not there. Because that, I forgot, needs to be loaded up on the actual weapon. I made it, I never actually put it there. Okay. It's doing shit to me though. It's like messing the screen up. And also not despawning when it makes contact with anything because I never set that up. It's like affecting the camera. Is it? It's colliding with the player. Man, it worked first time. The enemy isn't there though. Okay, so yeah, it's pushing the character. Is colliding with the character. We are on the same page there. So how you do this is you go collision. Yes, the world. It exists on its own and it collides with that. And I guess if the world is 1, the players are 2. I haven't set these up yet. Objects are 3, then we'll make enemies 4. Got to change those layers. Now, also the projectile needs to despawn when it makes contact with something. So projectile. After this, it just queue freeze. It doesn't actually matter if it's hit anything, whatever. It doesn't. It's irrelevant. Body queue free. No. Just do we queue free the projectile as well? I actually don't know. If we delete this, the child. So we delete the projectile. It will also delete the bullet. Or not. Huh. I mean, it doesn't look very good when you're walking. Can you generally shoot and walk at the same time in a third-person shooter? I don't know. It doesn't look right. There's no pose. There should be a pose for it. And also, like, I feel like the bullet point has moved. And okay, so we got some problems. On body entered isn't working. You gave the projects a physics body? Yes, I did. This isn't getting called. Yeah, I have to do some testing. If run and gun feels wrong, there should be a second pose for that. It doesn't look right. We'll work on that. Okay. Why isn't on body entered working? We're connecting it to the body entered. Dot connect. Oh, you know what? It's not monitoring anything. You got to set that stuff up manually. Rigid body, open scene. Solver. Continuous CD, contact monitor, max contacts. I normally put this at like 5. I think 1 would be fine. I don't know. You know? There we go. Like, see how right now it's on the right hand side of the player. We can shoot while we sprint. Yeah, and now it's on the left hand side. I am giving it the global position. There's probably some math there that I'm not getting quite right there. Anyway, we'll worry about that later. Let's see if we can kill the bad guy, which is just the enemy. We set that up earlier. That's going to be under enemy model. Drag him in. Just drop him right there. That is absolutely fine. Is he on the surface? Yeah, he has actually made contact. That's pretty cool. Layers. Let's think about layers. I don't think I set them up for our damage area, which is pretty silly of me. How will you deal with gun clipping in this? The easiest way to do that is to make everything... Your collider is bigger than you. You can't walk into the wall. I don't know if I'm doing that at the moment, but that is literally what you do. Let's go back to the player. Yeah, see how the collision shape is just bigger than the player? That seems to be the norm. Hey, buddy. I don't even know if that's working. How much health did I give him? How much damage? I don't think my gun does damage. Damage is 0. Let's make it 20. So that should kill in 3 hits. I don't know if I've set the layers up properly. Damage area. Collision layers. Yeah, this is all wrong. It should be on layer 4. We won't be able to see if it's doing anything. I don't think it's doing anything. And you can actually tell that I've stuffed up the camera collision because they are reacting to that. But we'll fix that later. What I really want right now... Yeah, shader. Some games retract the gun when you're near walls. I mean, yeah, in a first person. In a third person, it'd be pretty hard because it'd depend on... I don't know. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, you could do that. The 3 games I tested, they all just don't let you walk into the wall. Like, your rigid body is just bigger. Like, for sure, with Mass Effect 3 being the most obvious. Like, you were, like, this much away from the wall. It was kind of funny. Okay, so... Player character. We're not doing any damage at the moment. Damage. Player damage. Does it need a big bump? Mask? It's on that. The rigid body is masking it, but it's not on it. Would they even overlap? Or does this need to be on that layer as well? I need a printout to tell. No shape. We know. We know. It's okay. Let's just print the damage. Nothing. Not colliding, is it? Colliding with something else before it gets to that. Have I stuffed up the layers? Player, enemy collision shape. You know what it is? Yeah, I am probably colliding with the character. I don't know. Enemy. See this? Collision shape. Collision. Mask. So it doesn't collide with anything. I think theoretically that should be okay. Don't projectiles just detect areas and not occupy any layers? Well, this is a rigid body one, so it's different. Ooh, it went through it now. Okay. We're getting places. That's actually a good thing. I can walk through them too. That just means it's not detecting the areas. The areas aren't detecting it. Either way, monitoring, monitorable. There's a way to do this. Collision. Oh. These are not set up properly. And you're right, maybe the areas don't actually detect. Like the rigid body isn't going to detect the area, but the area is going to detect the rigid body. So I might have to set up some additional scripting. I might not have thought that well. I might not have thought that enough through, if that makes sense. I think, though, you can have your rigid bodies detect area 3Ds. Maybe. Where did I save it? Projectiles? Not here. Model? Rigid body projectile. Custom integrator, deactivation. Layers. Axis lock. Constant forces, angular, linear. Yeah, maybe I'm missing. Maybe this is not actually going to detect an area 3D. So, can sleep, freeze mode. Lock rotation, continuous CD, contact monitor on. When it collides with another body, not an area. So I'll have to look at that. Yeah, I'd say that's what it is. Not the other way around. And that's fine. Physics, process, auto translate. Yada, yada, yada. Like, it's only going to hit. Right, yeah, okay. Which means I will need to put a script on this. So we'll need to have something like a rigid body bullet. That's fine for a name. And it just needs to carry the damage, right? Like that's literally all it has to carry for damage. Float equal to 0 by default. And then the damage area node on damage, no area entered. In my hitbox scene when a hurtbox scene, the hurtbox was on the player and that just checks if the hitbox is its collider. Entered its collider, the hitbox only had a damage variable. Yeah, this is pretty similar in concept. I think I just missed the fact that rigid bodies don't trigger area 3D. Area 3Ds don't trigger rigid bodies, which is fine. The obvious answer would be just change it to an area 3D, but then you won't have gravity. You have to calculate it yourself, and that sucks. We're not going to do that. Area entered, area shape, body entered. Body entered, area entered. Let me think for a second. Body entered. Let's just try to get this done because it's getting late. So I guess we can give it a type. We can go rigid body class name is equal to rigid body bullet. I don't know if I like this. I might have to come back to it. And in this, we can just say if body is rigid body bullet, then hit successful, and then pass in the body dot damage. Right? Print body. Debugger 10. Hashbone. You know what? I think I need a ready function here, because I don't think this is, because I've already created these scripts. I haven't actually connected the scenes. This makes it easy to put a hitbox and a projectile or anything else really. Yeah, I'm doing that right now. Anyway. We just go on body entered dot connect on body entered. Save that. Okay, there we go. Now we are officially doing damage, which is not deleting the object. Now, I don't know if we're emitting the signal. It doesn't really seem like it. And the bullets are so big they're eclipsing too, but we are detecting them. I'm kind of curious if this is actually getting triggered. Zero, zero. We're not setting it. I skipped a step where now I have to set the projectile damage. And the projectile is actually a rigid body bullet. Proj dot damage equals damage. Get here. We no longer need this. And on the rigid body, on the damage area, didn't get around to figure out how to only affect one hitbox that was colliding with multiple. Just make your areas smaller than your hitboxes? I don't know, actually. It's a good question. If body is it, hit successful body dot damage, and then key free. Right. So what I'm going to do right now that you've said that, is to make these bad boys really small, because they are very big. I didn't think they would be that big. I thought this was small. This mesh is tiny. This is like 0.125. Height 0.6 meters. I guess that's actually pretty fucking big for a for a bullet. 0.6 meters. 60 centimeters. It's like the size of my arm. It's like, it's fucking huge. That's so funny. How's that? 0.1. Yeah, I was thinking in, when I set this before, I was definitely not thinking in meters, I was thinking in centimeters. That's much more reasonable. Anyway. Okay, so now we've got a problem because it's not detecting them. Come on, man, we were so close. Also, I guess they are going to the center point. Why is it not detecting them now? What? I literally just changed the size of it. Do I want to make it bigger? Is that the problem? Too small? God damn it. Let's just going through them. I swear to God. And now they're not queuing free. I still need this. Because if they... Like... I still need to delete it when it hits something that's not a damage area, right? Damage area, I don't know what's happening there. Let's print damage, right? I'm assuming this is actually triggering because it was before. There really shouldn't be any reason for it not to continue doing so. Weirdness. It is triggering. Just triggering one time. I'm deleting it. Body.keyfree. Nice one. Okay. We're doing it. We're doing it. Okay. Okay. We're rolling. Couple of issues. The bullet looks kind of strange, man. It is not firing in the direction that the gun is pointing. And that feels bad. You know what I'm saying? We'll have to work on that. It's going to involve more flipping IK. It's going to be more IK. Okay, what about automatic fire? Can we do that real quick? Be easy. The gun is pointing a direction. It's literally just like placed there. It doesn't have like any kind of like, where is it though? Where's the player? So it's literally just like, it's pinned to this hand. So it's just facing wherever that direction is. And there's up and down, but no like left and right. So that's just like, he's not pointing the right way and it's just what it is. It's so stupid. I thought I could get away with it. The answer is I can't. So that'll have to change. Which is annoying because last time I tried that, and the reason I stopped trying to do that is because the math was too annoying, and so I didn't like it. I decided it wasn't necessary. I was like, nah, doesn't matter. Turns out it does. Would be cool if you can make the gun look at the point where you're aiming to. Yeah, it should be relatively easy to do. I've actually done it already. It's just, the problem is with look at, it's in reverse. And so what happened was the entire character's body turned around. And so it was like facing the wrong way. Theoretically, we can fix that with math. We can just flip the vector. So I can just roll that back. Now, what do I want to do? Automatic fire. So finish firing, we can just change state to ready and we can go if current weapon slot dot weapon dot auto fire, you go back into shoot and input event is action pressed. Okay, not input event. Input dot is action pressed. Figured I would stop by and support another developer channel for a bit this morning. Looks like you have a lot going on with this game. Yeah, we're getting by. We're almost. I'm actually just about to end. We're just sort of setting up the firing. We've got it, but it needs a lot of work. Oh boy, does it need work. But are you making the hands go to the gun or the other way around? No. What am I doing? is there's a weapon attachment. So I guess the gun goes to the hand. So basically there's just a bone attachment on the hand, and when you spawn in a weapon, it just goes straight there. That's where it sits. And so that's sort of just in the hands of the weapon. So if I pull in a weapon, I've got one here. Weapon manager, weapon resource, models, rigid bodies. Where would it be? Weapon manager, weapons, models. Okay, fine. Strange place to spawn it in, but yeah. So here's blasted D. It's just an example one. If I spawn it in there, oh, it doesn't work if I do it like that. I forgot about that. Delete node. Spawn it there, and then just like drop it there, and then reset its position. It goes in there perfectly, right? Great. But what it doesn't do is face the right way. It kind of looks like it's pointing straight ahead. Like it's pretty good, but the rotation of the model, and I guess it just doesn't quite line up. Essentially, where you're aiming with the camera isn't quite the same as straight ahead for this guy. So we can change that. We can probably put some IK on the hip. Maybe, since it is looking pretty much dead ahead, we could probably get away with doing it on the hip, or if we can't do it on the hip, we could do it on the hand. Depends, it might look a little bit strange. I'll have to play around with it at some point. Right, so we were trying to do automatic fire as the last thing. Is action pressed? This looks like shit. Shoot. So essentially what we do is once we've finished firing, we can check to see if the weapon is auto fire, and if we're still pressing shoot, to just shoot again. Pretty straightforward. Then you can mess with the hand to make the gun look at a point. Yeah, essentially you could do like feedback. Like when you turn, you could like have the character move its arm a bit in advance of that, like faster than the character actually turns its body. There's a lot you can do. You can get really in the weeds with this stuff. Has ammo, auto fire, right? Okay, so theoretically now, it auto fires. Yeah, I guess because it's over the shoulder, we're not directly behind the character. So we're actually looking like a little bit, you know, across from it. I wonder if that's right. It kind of looks a bit strange, doesn't it? Now that I think about it. And there's some weirdness happening with the 3D point that we've got set up. It's not quite right. We need to work on that because now it's like fully messed up. Yeah, I don't know about that because it starts off okay, but then it goes to shit. Instead of rotating the bullet, you can rotate the hand to look at the point. Might be a bit complex. What time is it? It is 10:40, so I'm a little bit over, but yeah, 22. It ain't knows. Yeah, I might actually end it there. We'll come back on Monday and we'll keep working on it. I'll probably do some stuff tomorrow as well. Shout out to, okay, so thank you everybody for the support. Jips, Hollyhazard, Color Pants, Rap, Big Green, Jace, Nike, Bricky T, YDG, Schoolmonger, Mr. Sparkle, and oh yeah, dude. I think Mr. Sparkle and Bricky T might be the same person. I might be a bit confused. I have to check that. Based on the fact of what he said before in the chat. Anyway, that's that. Thanks for hanging out, guys. I really appreciate it. It's been fun. It's kind of like sleeping time song, sleeping time music. Alright guys, I'll see you guys later.